and welcome to the very first podcast of 2014, a very special Game Buzz. I'm Matt Gardner, I'm joined here by Jonathan Lester.
Happy New Year!
Thought you'd lagged out.
Yeah, I know, right?
And by Carl Phillips.
Sup?
And yes, welcome to a Game Buzz Extra. Tomorrow we will be doing our Game Buzz proper with a look at the first news of the year, but we thought we'd take this opportunity, as we did at the end of 2013, looking backwards, to look forwards over the coming 12 months and just have a little bit of a chat about what's exciting us on the horizon, things we're looking forward to, things we're perhaps a little bit worried about as well, and just some expectations and predictions for 2014. So I guess the first place to start is games. We always say it's all about the games. What games are we looking forward to particularly in 2014? We've already covered a few of them on site, but obviously there are others, right? Like what games are we looking forward to? John, kick us off.
Well, I mean, first of all, we've got to start seeing the next-gen consoles earn their keep, haven't we? Because we've had a few launch titles, they've been pretty great, but we've now got to see the great big heavy hitters that sort of justify the purchase, that justify the £300, £400, £500 that everyone spent. Yeah. So for Xbox One owners, that means Titanfall.
Yep.
Basically, is what that means. We've talked about this an awful lot. We're going to be talking about it an awful lot more, but this is going to be the first big sort of almost killer exclusive that the Xbox One has, unless you count Dead Rising 3, which you should, because it's awesome. But yeah, Titanfall is going to be the first big test of the Xbox One, and the PS4 as well. We just need to see more stuff from that. I mean, the first big game on their side of on that side of the equation is going to be Infamous, Second Son. So, you know, looking forward to seeing if that's as much fun as the original games. Drive Club, I personally couldn't give two hoots about, but hell, console needs an exclusive racing game, right? And well, I'd like to see some more of The Order as well. The Order 1866.
Yeah.
Yep. That could be really exciting, but we really still don't know a huge amount about it. I mean, it's a shooter. I think it's vaguely cooperative. The setting looks potentially very exciting, but, you know, more details on that, please.
I agree. Do you know what? Because I was saying this just before we started the call. It's almost I almost don't forget, because we had such a busy month of next gen stuff from mid-November to mid-December. I almost forget in this sort of, we're just sort of treading water in January. There's nothing enormous coming out, and I don't know. You can always be forgiven for thinking that nothing really happened in the last month or two, because. I don't know about you guys, but the next couple of months look fairly bare, and that's not necessarily a new thing. The early months of the year have never been stuffed with releases, but we had seen a bit more of a trend over the last couple of years with some big names dropping March, particularly. So that's that March, April, May period. And I can't help but wonder if actually we're going to see more and more blockbusters sort of gravitate to just the end of the year again, sort of this early in the new console's life cycle, just to take advantage of E3 and Gamescom and things like that. And that's quite sad for me, because I kind of want awesome stuff now. I want it now.
Well, I mean, there's stuff coming to the PS4 in February and March. There's Titanfall coming to the Xbox One. All games we've already mentioned. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it is looking like a relatively quiet time for next-gen console owners for the next, couple of months. Time enough to get some platinum trophies, maybe.
It's true. And hopefully Nintendo will stick. They haven't been very good at sticking to their release plans for the Wii U, but hopefully, early, Q1 should see Mario Kart, Spring Smash Brothers, please. Because then I can get one, then I feel I can justify buying one.
Yeah, and then show us some more details about X.
Yes.
Show us lots more details about X, because Monolith Soft are amazing. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best JRPGs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So, if, that's going to should be a huge, awesome exclusive for the Wii U, and I want to play it now. I don't know anything really about it apart from massive open world with mechs. I don't think I need to know.
Yeah.
I also want one of the big things for Xbox One It's colourful, it's vibrant. It looks a lot more like an Insomniac game than Fuse ever did. But that's the thing. Like we remember Fuse, a game so just nondescript that they chopped the heads off of their cover art protagonists. And I want Insomniac to turn that around. Sunset Overdrive looks interesting enough. What little we've seen of like that, and we've seen very, 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 very little. But it looks more like an Insomniac game than Fuse ever did, and I kind of like that. But then again, Fuse, back when it was called fucking Overstrike, looked like an Insomniac game.
Yeah, the problem. We just know that they're going to turn around and call it Plague.
No!
And it's going to be grey and not fun.
Yeah, but it tested well in focus.
Take your grubby fucking hands off it, yeah. Although EA aren't doing it, that'll be a collaboration with Microsoft Studios, which is good.
There'll be a huge number of microtransactions then.
Yay! Carl, what things are you looking forward to this? You've mentioned WildStar, and we will be doing. We've all been getting into WildStar. But what other things for you stand out this year?
Well, as I said in the article, Dreamfall chapters coming out towards the end of the year. Really looking forward to that. And don't check that out. I don't want to bore you again with all of that. But other stuff. I'm just looking down the list, and I think Wolfenstein: The New Order. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how that comes out. That's meant to be coming out this year. And then, well, let's think. I'm really looking forward to Final Fantasy X2 HD remake. I know that's really sad because we've already played it, but really looking forward to that one. And Dark Souls.
You touched on something there, like more games for the Vita, please.
Oh yeah, definitely. Vita, please, more stuff. That would be nice.
Yeah, the thing is though, it's time for the Vita to really come into its own. I mean, it had a quiet but fairly confident year, especially if you're a fan of the niche stuff last year.
Yeah.
It had a few really good big landmark releases, but the problem is for the Vita to succeed, Sony needs to task its big hitters with making games for it. As you saw, they did a great job with Tearaway when they actually got one of their big first party studios on base for it.
Yeah.
But the problem is most of them are going to be working on PS4 games right now. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they really try and push the Vita as a companion, perhaps, for the PS4. Really try and push that kind of functionality going forward. But it does need more games. And I'd also like to see some more, like, really exciting 3DS games on the horizon as well. Because, the 3DS had a cracking year last year. But I almost wonder if they, like, really crammed all their best ideas into 2013. I really want to see some more really, really exciting things, apart from Smash Brothers, of course, slated for this next year as well.
I wouldn't mind if they alternated though. I wouldn't mind if, for example, like the 3DS has an awesome year, and then I have another year to sort of catch up with my enormous backlog on the 3DS, while the Wii U has an awesome year, right? If that makes sense, because I like Nintendo, the 3DS had a wonderful year. Consoles, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if it can have just as good a year this year. I get what you're saying. Like, it feels like, I don't know. It had such a good 2013. I don't know how on earth they can keep that up while trying to somehow spark the Wii U into life this year.
It's true, but at least, as you said, we got Pokemon, we've got Animal Crossing. If you don't have Bravely Default, you should really get on Bravely Default. I was good and ready to play Zelda A Link Between Worlds over Christmas and ended up playing about 85 hours of Bravely Default. That thing is monstrous.
Yeah. So I have that. I've got Fire Emblem waiting for you. I've got Phoenix Wright. I still need to play. Still haven't played. Freaking Dream Team. I haven't played Zelda either. I have the largest 3DS backlog.
Okay, but I see what you mean. I think it's time for Nintendo, maybe take a slight backseat on the 3DS and then really ramp up the Wii U. The thing is, it looks like they've got a bunch of really great games coming to the Wii U and potentially interesting projects, not limited to Zelda Dynasty Warriors, which is both a work of absolute genius and complete insanity.
Yeah.
Like, it's good and terrible in all the right ways. I'm hoping it'll be better than that video would suggest. But and it will be, because Nintendo are going to be watching that thing like a hawk. But yeah, I think you were right. A while back, you suggested that the Wii U will become an essential console that actually not many people will buy. And I think you might be spot on. I reckon the Wii U this year is actually going to become quite a hardcore console. It's going to be full of games with vintage pedigree, real exclusives, really finely crafted games that you cannot find anywhere else, that actually, like, connoisseurs, like real gamers are going to buy into, but won't necessarily, it's almost going to be, it could even turn into the anti-Wii. Like, become a really hardcore console that you buy specifically because you want to play great games, not because it has, like, great family appeal.
Well, this is the thing. Like, going back to a time before I became a games critic, and, when I was a raving Nintendo fanboy, and and I didn't know about. I read magazines for games. I didn't really immerse myself too much in the industry side of things at all. And you go back and you look at pretty much every home console since the SNES. Actually, since the NES, technically, maybe. Well, no, since the SNES, except for the Wii, and Nintendo have always the N64 and the GameCube were consoles with absolutely amazing games catalogs that sold really poorly in comparison to their direct competitors. Compared to Sony. So going back to that, I don't think is necessarily a problem for them. It just needs to be less of a crippling failure. And reach a level where connoisseurs do go, do you know what, that game's system is fucking amazing.
They're doing it already.
It is happening.
It's when you it's interesting that you mentioned back in those days before the games journalism and constantly pouring through financial reports. Journalism. What I meant to say was being a massive hack. But let's not be about the bush. Journalism is a word that's bandied about a lot these days incorrectly. But look. Back in those days, we bought into Nintendo consoles because we loved the games. We were so excited about the games. We were so passionate about them. And it's almost like there are times when I catch myself thinking, oh, well, the Wii U's rubbish because it's only sold 10,000 units in PAL territories. And then thinking, oh, my God, what have I become? So I'm going to be, I'm going to be hyping up the Wii U a whole bunch this year. I think it really has the potential to be an absolutely quality console if you care about playing great games. Not a bunch of recycled shooters, a bunch of, dare I say, casual shooters. A game where you can actually get stuck into deep, engaging, timeless titles with real pedigree behind them, with real craft behind them. So I really hope that's what the Wii U is already turning into that. I hope it's going to fully realise that this year, and then more people buy it. Word of mouth will drive that. Miiverse will hopefully drive that.
It is, but also to caveat that. I personally haven't bought a Wii U, not because of financials. It's important to state that, but because Nintendo, I'm sorry to say this, have gone downhill. Creatively, I do feel they've gone downhill in recent years. That's not to say they make bad games. Nintendo don't make bad games, but they've been treading water creatively for some time to a certain extent. And I really hope this is the year. Donkey Kong Tropical Bumfucking what the shit is this? Is not the answer.
Yeah, but
the next Zelda game might be.
But Cranky Kong.
The next sort of
Cranky
I
Kong.
still don't consider Super Mario 3D World to be a proper fucking Super Mario game.
And yet it's, by all accounts, absolutely peerless. The only problem is they just should have given it a better title. Frankly, obviously it was based on the 3DS game. Apparently it blows that out of the water. Is really incredibly creative while still tapping into that nostalgic vibe. But they should have just called it something like, something that doesn't make it sound like an incremental upgrade. Because people are already confused and thinking that that's what the Wii U is anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Wii U delivers, both in terms of those depressing financials and the games. I really want to tap into some of that old school childlike passion again. I'm looking forward to that. But I think that there are some more games before we get stuck into too many of the like far-reaching like potential predictions for 2014. There are some other games that we're really psyched for. One of which is coming out on Wii U and will hopefully arrive not too far into 2014. Watch Dogs.
Yes, please.
Watch Dogs. Now, a few people, I think notably late in our community, have been getting on our case about not being seemingly that excited about Watch Dogs anymore. Because we were bouncing off the walls with excitement after they announced it at E3.
It just needs to come out by now, right?
But that's the thing.
That's
it's sort of, for me, it's done a Bioshock Infinite. The hype train was building up. They're releasing loads of crazy like alternate reality games and insane tie-in apps, and we're building up, and then they were like, actually, it's coming out in Q2 2014. Please hold. Please understand. And then suddenly I was like, and I'm getting excited again. It's something that, I went and checked out a production build last year, interviewed some of the guys. They're a passionate team working on what could be an insanely, I reckon that it's one of the most next gen games on the horizon. But there's still a few unanswered questions, like we don't know how big that world is still. They're remaining very coy about the size of the game world. I assume that means it's going to be probably relatively small compared to something like GTA 5, but much more dense than GTA 5.
And that's
what to do in a smaller area. Yeah, that's good.
That's key. That's key.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like depending on, because the other question is, and it's tied in with size. Like if it is slightly smaller and therefore aiming to be slightly more dense, those dynamic systems, like it's a systemic game. It's built around core systems that you play with. That's the whole point. So like one man's Aiden Pierce might not be another man's Aiden Pierce, and that's what I want, and I want to see how far that goes, how deep it runs, because that's what I'm really excited about next gen for.
Exactly.
Open dynamic systems.
So I'm hoping, and the great thing about Watch Dogs is that's all bleeding back into the, well, I guess last gen versions, we got to call them now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we are excited about that. We want to see this. We want it to happen. And, well, it is happening, but we want to play the freaking thing. Otherwise, there's a lot of other interesting next-gen projects as well. Like, there's Thief. That's hopefully going to be awesome. Metal Gear Solid, like, not too long before we get to play about with Ground Zeroes. Still a lot of unanswered questions about that, like, is the regenerating health going to annoy people? Are we going to accept Kiefer Sutherland? Is it going to be anything more than a glorified tutorial? All interesting questions, but there's only one way to find out. Nobody knows, but we're looking forward to that. And, later on in the year as well, another cracking Ubisoft game, in terms of the big AAA stuff. I mean, The Crew. The Crew is the next-gen driving game that I'm most excited about. Like, forget Drive Club, forget Need for Speed, Rivals. I mean, I kind of forget Forza 5 as well. Like, The Crew really looks like a whole bunch of fun. It plays really nicely. And that's the way that the sort of community, the multiplayer, the single player all blends into one sort of crazy action-packed game. It's hopefully going to be really, really exciting and like crazy visceral as well. But, they're just the big games. There's so many. The great thing about 2014 is there are loads of cracking smaller titles and niche games. And before we get on to those, do you want to talk about WildStar?
We can. I thought we were going to leave this for a different cast.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we will, because I mean, there's so much.
Yeah.
And 3 different perspectives, 3 different, and actually, do you know what I like about this? Is that we're all coming to it from sort of different levels of MMO-ness and looking for different things out of it, I guess. And it's fucking good.
So yeah, we're excited about that. There's you and Carl have been churning out the YouTube goodness on that front.
I do want to ask a question though, because like this is like looking forward, obviously, and we've got next gen, and one of the big things is connectivity is going to be huge. MMOs on consoles.
Yay!
Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming. Are we excited about this? Is this a big thing?
Should be. Well, I don't know. I mean, we've got PlanetSide 2 coming out, which is arguably an MMO, and we've definitely got The Elder Scrolls Online coming out in the next few months. So,
Defiance is already out.
Are we allowed
yeah,
to
Defiance.
mention Redacted that Redacted has been playing Redacted? Are we allowed to?
Are we to Redacted?
Have you been dabbling in some? Have you been playing the Elder Scrolls Online?
No.
Oh, I thought it was in. I thought it.
Yeah, now you see that for me is a game that I'm going to be preparing an article about this, but that for me is a game that's looking just a little bit worrying at the moment. I'll be interested to get some more gameplay impressions about that.
I definitely need to have some more hands-on time.
Yeah.
Because I tried it out at Gamescom and it was very good.
All right.
But it was not. There was something not right at the same. It was better than because you know how they showed the initial gameplay and we were all like, okay, this is not what we want. It definitely seemed better than that, and it certainly did have an Elder Scrolls vibe to it, but I'm not so sure whether it's going to be particularly that great or worth the huge subscription.
Yeah, massive sub, and apparently some sort of premium currency store as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bullshit.
That's going to have to. MMOs can take that model if they're good enough. The question is, will it be good enough? Will it be different enough? And will it, stop people playing WoW?
Nah.
On consoles, that's not an issue. Will it get people
consoles,
playing, will it get people paying 15 quid a month to play it on consoles? That's the thing.
No.
So, we live in hope. But there's, there are a lot of other games we're excited about as well, like smaller, more niche titles as well. There's Transistor, there's Age of Wonders 3, there's loads of great stuff in early access too. Planetary Annihilation. Octodad, yes, Octodad.
Sketch.
Looking forward to seeing, PS4's indie initiative kick off.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture and Rhyme, and there's a huge number of The Witness. Loads of interesting looking games on there. And after a while, ID at Xbox is going to start catching up too. That's tremendously exciting. There are some awesome looking titles there. So there's a lot to look forward to this year, like not just in terms of the big AAA releases, but in terms of the smaller stuff, the niche stuff, PC games, boutique games, indie games. There's a huge amount happening this year. It's tremendously exciting.
I'm interested to see as well the projects that come out of sort of the crowdfunding scene, the sort of alternative routes, because Kickstarter's bubble has been burst slightly. We've had failures now. We've seen those sort of first and second wave games that came following Double Fine Adventure that sort of cashed in on the excitement surrounding crowdfunding. We've had that sort of first and second wave of games release. Some have been good, some haven't been good. And I'm looking forward to seeing just the stuff that we don't know about as well, right? We say this every time at the top of the year, like, what the hell is a crazy, inventive, creative, wonderful innovator is going to come up with this year that we don't even know about? Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm just looking for, I want that to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the unknown. I want to ask a couple of questions based on predictions. Now, I'm obscenely excited about the Oculus Rift. Obscenely excited. I need it. I need it to release commercially right now. But the question I want to posit is, what is going to be the biggest sort of tech thing of the year? Is it going to be VR? Is it going to be cloud? What do we think? It's going to be something completely different. Like
the thing
neural nodes.
I don't think it's going to be brain-powered gameplay.
Brain-powered.
I mean, those things that already exists, but it's kind of I can't see that being like factored into any usable proper gameplay applications anytime soon. And I'd say much the same thing about the nebulous cloud. Like, yeah, PlayStation Now looks very exciting. But the fact is, Microsoft keeps banging on about the cloud, and that basically boils down to some games have dedicated servers sometimes. That's all that currently boils down to. And with our crappy online infrastructure, that's all it's going to be for quite some time. And PlayStation Now is very exciting, but even Sony are clearly very worried about our crappy European state of broadband because they're not even betaing it in Europe this year.
Well, I think Carl, you were the one that suggested that was your biggest wish for 2014, and I kicked myself when I read it because I was just like, that is, yeah.
That was it, but it wasn't necessarily 2014. It was of next gen, our hopes for next gen, and that was it. Because without having stable, fast internet for everybody, there's always going to be someone suffering online gaming. And when you've got big, sort of like huge shooters such as PlanetSide, or when we do finally see Star Citizen working online, that's going to be hugely important, especially in the fact that we have online games. You're always at the moment got your American servers, European servers, and then your oceanic servers. We need to get to a point where, I don't know whether this is even going to be possible, but everybody can play everyone else. Because we have games, Halo, we played against people from the US, but we need to have it so that everybody is basically on a level playing field. And that's when we all need stable internet.
And perhaps a universal translator if you want to do that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The thing is, like, it is a global issue as well, because even in the States, like, you talk to some people, they're like, no, the internet infrastructure in this country is fucking awful. And that's because everywhere outside of your major cities, there's going to be difficulties. And quite frankly as well, ISPs just haven't been proactive enough in sorting this problem out over the last, decade. Frankly, the tech has been growing exponentially. We've been pushing boundaries in the tech side of things like forever. But the thing is, it's not about our sort of cautiousness and our hesitancy about things like cloud. It's not about being a Luddite. It's not that we're afraid of this technology going forward. It's the fact that we just don't have any faith at all in ISPs to not be greedy, restrictive pricks.
Absolutely. I mean, this was the thing with OnLive. Like, I remember as well, Matt, we tested it out. The system itself, the ecosystem and the service was fantastic, but it was all crippled by the fact that in peak time, the quality would go down because your bandwidth would be throttled. And we've seen a few people on site who go, well, I've got 60 meg internet and it's absolutely fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I still use it. And that's great for you. I'm very glad that you've got the most out of services like OnLive.
So happy for you.
Well, no. It's very true, because at the end of the day, it shows that when you've got fast internet, the system does work. You are basically, those people are in such a tiny minority that it's not the thing that the rest of us suffer when it comes to peak time. And with that still being an issue, you can't say that things like PlayStation Now are going to be a huge success, because they can't be. If they were tomorrow, it would be a huge issue. We need improvement with our internet infrastructure across everything, especially computing on the Xbox One. If they want to make that such a big thing and have it so that it's a non-issue in terms of site lag and whatever, that needs to happen.
Yeah. And the thing is, like technology always runs faster than, a lot faster than sort of like the people at the back. Like you do. I mean, this is why we have the burgeoning niche PC market, right? Because like very few people can afford ridiculously high-end PCs. But you know what? It's really fucking cool that people make those awesome things. It's like supercars, isn't it? Who's really gonna be able to afford a Veyron? Not that many people, but it's really awesome that they've made one.
Yeah,
so cool that the Veyron exists, right? But you have to look back sometimes, and you have to be able to take into account the fact that actually the vast majority of people are still mired in restrictive bandwidth and issues with ISPs that haven't been resolved in the last 5 to 10 years and are still happening and are still problems. And there's no real sign that this is going to get better rapidly.
No.
Because there's no quick fix for this. You have to roll out the cables. You have to roll out. It's an expensive thing. And actually, this is where governments have to get involved and say, no, we want We want to be a fucking connected society. This is freaking awesome. We need to invest in this. And I really hope, because the thing is, like, people are going to be left, large swathes of people are going to be left behind, and it restricts the things you can do. It's perfectly great coming up with these initiatives, but if you don't have the people to make that profitable, it's ultimately pointless.
Yeah.
So give us more internet.
So, okay, so we're not sold on cloud.
John, use your microphone.
Sorry, I've got the lurgy. I was doing horrible things to my sinuses. Yeah, so that we're not sold on cloud. I take it.
Well, do you know what? I
In
love
an
the idea,
understatement.
but practically,
You
not.
know, at least Sony are actually have provided a practical, useful application for the word cloud, rather than just banging on about it and saying, "Oh, but the cloud makes everything better. The cloud is great." But not actually explaining what that word actually means in context or any like practical use for it. At least Sony is saying you will be able to play at some point, you Europeans, probably 2019, PS3 games on PS4 tablets, whatever. That's something practical. Do that, Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Show us some like useful applications of it working, please, or at least something that it'll actually improve or be useful for. So what about VR then, chaps?
Give it to me now.
Yeah?
Do you know what? That tiny like 3-minute freaking Eve Valkyrie demo I played at Gamescom with the Oculus Rift HD, which probably won't be, which will be really expensive if it ever becomes commercially available, which it will eventually, but it will be really expensive. I'd never want to play anything not that again. Basically, it's the most immersive experience I've ever had in my life, and because it was a fixed position as well, so I was in an aircraft, much like you'd be if you were in a racing game. You'd be behind the wheel. You wouldn't actually be moving, so there was no disconnect between what I was physically doing and what was on screen. But you've got things like the thing I like about VR right now is the fact that since Oculus said, well, since they made it cool again, and went, yeah, this is going to be the next big thing. And John Carmack went, yeah, I'm in. Loads and loads of companies, it's not just them. Loads of other companies have gotten involved and saying, actually, yes, Sony are in, apparently. We're still waiting on that VR announcement from them, but it's coming. But as well as that, as well as the headsets, right? You've got things like the Omni, that ridiculous circular treadmill that will allow there to be no disconnect between your physical movement and what your brain thinks it's seeing. So that's wonderful. Suddenly, like walking around in a game, that's immersion takes on a whole new fucking meaning. And those games, those experiential games that people have struggled to define as games, things like Dear Esther and the upcoming Everyone's Going to the Rapture and Gone Home and things like that just root you in an experience. Holy crap, those are going to be good. The subtle things you're going to be able to do. Horror is... I'm going to have to buy more pants. Like, so many more pants. Or just an adult diaper, I guess. I mean, nappy, I don't know. That could work. Because I'm just going to shit myself constantly because of the immersive quality. This is the thing. VR is on the horizon. It's tangible. It's tantalizing. It's out there. People have got them. It's so near, and I don't think I'm never going to look at gaming the same way again, because that has a massive chance to really make single player gaming fucking amazing.
That's also pretty gross.
Yeah, really disgusting.
I'm very sorry. I got very excited. I might need to change my pants now. Actually, that's how excited I got.
Yeah, I'm excited for VR, but I think it will still be a while before we see it really take off. I mean, partly there's there's quite a high upfront cost of entry.
There is.
And there's also the fact that you mentioned the control disconnect, and that is, I think, going to be quite a big deal. Because it's just a practical... I hate to be the stick in the mud here, but there's going to be nothing more annoying than accidentally misplacing your fingers on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And then groping around going, oh crap, where am I? Or it'll work brilliantly. I think we're going to have to see some new controllers come out as well.
It's really disorienting.
Like
Just playing Doom 3, sat down and stood up. It was... I felt.
You're gonna have to be worrying about, if you're using a PC, a keyboard and mouse. It's like, what if your mouse comes off the mouse pad. I mean, you've got to then worry about that without being able to see what you're doing. You don't have that sort of thing in your peripheral vision as well. So I'd like to. I mean, it worked well with the gamepad, and it would work brilliantly if bring back Steel Battalion. It'd be brilliant if we could have that great big ridiculous controller that is also modelled in the game, so you can see exactly where everything is. But yeah, I'd like to see some more ways of bringing your body into the game. I think that's the only way we're going to see really awesome like first-person shooters and stuff work well in VR, because otherwise I think that's going to be tremendously just disconcerting. Your brain, you doing one motion of controls, but your brain doing something else, and you're sitting still while everything else is moving around you. But for flight sims and for racing games, and as you say, for horror games and anything, all manner of experimental stuff, I think VR is going to be tremendously exciting. Whether or not it will hit the mainstream this year, I hope it does. I really want one. But once these things hit the mass market, their prices can start coming down.
Yeah, I agree. It's fingers crossed that it hits this year, but it might well.
I don't know if we'll ever realistically be wearing like exoskeletons and standing on an Omni while gaming for several hours at a time. I don't know if that's ever realistically.
Just want it for Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen.
Well, so you can run around in Elite Dangerous, working out on your ship.
No, I mean just a Rift.
The Rift. It's great to see. The thing about the Rift is it's great to see so many developers embrace it. Sony's embracing it. It'd be great to see if Microsoft would do something. I mean, they've already got Kinect. It would seem to me like VR and Kinect would be quite impressive bedfellows. If you have VR, and then it can show you where your hands and fingers are in 3D space in front of you in the game, that's going to be super useful. That's going to kill that disconnect.
Oh man!
If they can make that happen, if Microsoft does that.
It's at times like these, right?
Yeah.
But I wish I was going to be alive in like 150 years' time to see like the future and what the fuck we come up with by then. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would.
Of course, we might have all died in a nuclear war, so.
Oh well, Happy New Year, everyone.
I was just saying, what a horribly depressing point we've got to.
No,
Thanks, Matt.
So let's keep it light and fluffy, guys. So we're excited about VR.
Yes,
we're excited about the oncoming nuclear holocaust.
But as you say, like those, it's interesting because trying to sort of ascertain larger things that we're excited for in 2014. We've said with both cloud computing and VR as well. Like it might. These are things that might take some time to really embed themselves.
What I don't think we're going to be talking about this much more in our actual news podcast, but I don't think we're going to see a massive PC living room revolution necessarily this year, at least from the Steam machines.
No.
We can talk about that in more detail, but we're seeing after all the hype, the actual announcement was pretty underwhelming. Again, I don't want to like tread over too much ground now, but I think that's going to be something. If that's going to take off, it's going to need some just very competitive, well-designed, not looking like idiotic toys PCs, and with lots of interesting streaming options.
I do think that we might start seeing more just stream boxes.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to see is Nvidia take one of their shields, take the screen off, and it's already got an HDMI cable, so just take the screen off, plug it into your TV, and then, oh look, I'm streaming from the PC for something that will, without the screen, and perhaps even the controller, cost under like 200 quid less.
Yeah,
the Shield can already do that.
Just
got an
just
Nvidia
a
card.
streaming box.
They've already invented the streaming box. It's called the Shield. It'll do that. But just make that stop it being turn it from a handheld into a little box.
A little box that supports any controller that has a USB thing.
Yeah. So do that, Nvidia. That you could anyone just do that. But yeah, I'm more excited about Steam's controller. I think that could be tremendously exciting. I can't see it working well for games like platformers and stuff, where you're jumping over things and you're using a D-pad. I can't see how a trackpad could make any substitute for an 8-way D-pad.
Early physical reports coming out of CES suggest it is just absolutely batshit mental
Yeah,
and will take hours to get used to.
absolutely. But we can talk about that more in our news podcast, and we will be talking about that a lot more. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see the sort of Steam revolution take off. Yeah. That's
Certainly not without. Actually, yeah, I don't. Yeah, we'll get more into that tomorrow, but certainly not without Gabriel kind of putting his money where his mouth is.
But I think VR could help push that though, because if the console manufacturers are slow to get on board, and VR really does start taking off, and the price of living room PCs starts coming down dramatically, and they support a really cool OS, and the trackpad means that there's very little, and the sort of Steam controller means that there's very little disconnect, and Valve brings out a VR headset of their own, which they've been rumoured to be working on for ages, that could help get the PC into the living room.
So basically, if you're a moneyed enthusiast, you're going to have the best year. It's going to be great.
Yep.
But mainstream appeal for all of these things might have to wait. So yeah, a year of possibility and potential ahead of us.
Indeed.
It's exciting times. I'm very excited.
I can tell. You sound very excited.
I am very excited.
You're very excited. I can see that. I can see you're physically quite excited. You're smiling.
No, that's just the banana in my pocket.
Yeah. Good potassium. That's actually a bit of potassium mid-podcast. That's a great idea.
Right. So before we go, I want one big sort of controversial prediction from the both of you for 2014. Right. Something controversial, something with a bit of bite to it. Nothing obvious like there'll be a Call of Duty this year, but something with a little bit of mustard on that mustard.
Ooh, interesting. I think we're going to start. I think the Xbox One might have a slightly tough year as people start realizing that the whole TV functionality is actually a bit of a non-starter. I think that we're going to see a lot of punditry, and we're going to see a lot of gamers and a lot of people realizing that actually you're paying more to be able to watch TV on a middleman in your living room that you can just already do with your television. Like Sony's bringing out streaming services. There's streaming services on the PC. You can stream TV from practically any device anyway. And I think that we're going to see that Microsoft has perhaps shot themselves in the foot with that sort of output. I wonder if perhaps we might see... Ooh, it's difficult to call, but I think we're going to see Microsoft, unless they really work on that awesome television first-party network, I think we're going to see them really sort of amping up the games. Will we see them bring out a new version of Kinect that's actually very small, perhaps, doesn't have a depth sensor in it, but just has a camera for user recognition and a microphone? I don't know. So yeah, my prediction is that Firefall is going to bomb hard. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. Sod all that waffling. Firefall is in real trouble right now. There's going to be a live stream later today at the time we're recording this, so this could be completely moot. But that game is looking really shaky, and the guy whose vision it was has been voted out as as project lead by the board. So that's not looking great. Carl? Oh, my waffling must have given you some time to think something up, something better than that.
Honestly, no. Honestly, I can't think of something that would be controversial or anything really.
Okay, well here's my prediction is that both Titanfall and Destiny have awful starts in terms of their online infrastructure.
But Matt, dedicated servers, but the cloud, Matt, the cloud is still in the cloud. The cloud lets you have
but in the case of Titanfall, EA.
Exactly right.
Well, it'll be interesting.
EA had a horrible year last year. They managed to fuck up Battlefield. I don't know how. Battlefield 4 is so good, but How did they manage to
Will
botch
we
that,
see-
that launch so very,
Will we
very
see
badly?
Respawn Entertainment and EA executives offloading even more shares before Titanfall comes out? I mean, the word insider trading is bandied about a lot these days. But seriously.
Allegedly.
It's allegedly bandied about a lot these days. But man, there's that was such a shame for Battlefield 4. I mean, this was the year where they could have crushed COD, and rather than everyone banging on about how brilliant Battlefield 4 is, everyone's banging on about how broken it was and how class action lawsuit from investors suggesting that EA knew that it was going to be crap and offloaded loads of shares. That's a shame. But yeah, I think we've been banging on about this all through the cast. We're going to see just people not having their online infrastructure ready and our own online infrastructure not being ready for it. So yeah, you're probably not wrong.
It's a sad thing because on the PC they've managed to get around this by having early access.
Yay.
Which is great. But do you know what? Like, there's, and I wrote about this in my predictions pieces. The idea that release dates are gonna just have no meaning whatsoever because we've seen it work on PCs like the paid alphas, extended year-long beta sessions where you get gamers in to basically help you fine tune before you can say, right, it's done, we're releasing, but people have been playing it for like a year. And I really want that to happen on consoles. And I hope by the end of the year, this is maybe this is an information that we'll start seeing early access on consoles.
That's fair.
Because I think developers, if they really want to be expansive about this, if they really want to leverage that cloud power and the connectivity power, then I think that's something they've got to do. Microsoft have to get a little bit smarter about their certification process. It's already started slightly with Xbox, but much more openness needs to be happening. I do think eventually we'll see early access on consoles. Carl.
Oh
wait, one more. There will be transactions. There will be microtransactions all over Halo 5.
If Microsoft Studios have their hands in it, I think just generally this year as well, this is going to be yet another year where I think microtransactions are going to really fuck everything up. But I think there's going to be a backlash, and we might start to see things normalise either towards the end of the year or 2015. I think people are already pissed off about the idea of, because I've got nothing wrong with the concept of microtransactions, but there's everything wrong with the concept of microtransactions in a full price game.
Yeah,
everything
wrong with the way they've been deployed.
And I think exactly, and I think we could see that whole thing explode and then implode in on itself, perhaps.
Keep shouting about it. If there's something,
exactly.
If we learn anything from 2013, it's actually that they do pay attention to the vocal minority. Like, shout. Don't be rude about it. Don't be a dick about it. But definitely get your point across.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're unhappy with something, there are more community and community management is becoming much more important than it's ever been before, and you got a voice, use it. Carl.
Damn it. I predict that there will be tears of some form over the announcement of Mass Effect next game. There we go. There's my contract. There will be tears of some sort.
There will be tears.
There will be tears of some sort
over the next Mass Effect game.
Yeah. Could be joy. Could be absolute, just like crushing hopes, but yeah, there's going to be.
So there'll be a Mass Effect announcement this year, and it will either be sex on toast, or cripplingly awful.
Yep.
Okay. Right, that's it. That's 3 predictions. Actually, we came up with more than 3 predictions. Those are predictions. Yeah. There you go. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2014. Let us know what you guys are looking forward to over the next 12 months. Let us know a few of your predictions. What you're excited for.
Oh, we should do New Year's resolutions.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, we should do some New Year's resolutions for us, for games companies, and for gamers as well. So I think, Brendan's already done loads of New Year's resolutions for the PS4. We'd like to see all of those happen. Articles on site, go check it out. Microsoft, your New Year's resolutions needs to be to fix your flipping Xbox One OS, bring out more games, and generally communicate better. Like, really amp up the community features, the community sites, and the ways that we can interact with you. Like, not just tweet at us every once in a while. Really turn Xbox Wire into a proper community hub, or like really bring do what Sony does with the PlayStation blog and all their various communities and PlayStation Access.
We said that when they shut down Inside Xbox. We said
exactly.
They never replaced it with anything.
And I hate to say it as well, but you know what? Agent Nelson is kind of now kind of a creepy uncle. I think we need a better. I'm sorry, but I kind of feel we need a better face of Xbox One as well, like someone else, maybe.
Don Matry.
No. Gosh, good he's gone, isn't it? So that's from Microsoft. Nintendo, we don't have 3 or 4 hours to outlist a new business plan for you, but and also to invent other words like outlist. But yeah, you just need to just market your games. Just market them. You've got great games. Freaking market them. Show them on TV. And now that Miiverse is available on loads of platforms, including the 3DS as well. It's amazing on 3DS, by the way. Miiverse is awesome. Even lets you post 3DS screenshots. It's brilliant. Use that as a two-way communication tool between you and the community. Make it two-way. Be really active on there. Get everyone talking about games. Whip up like excitement on there, and just tell us about what you're doing.
I think I'm gonna drop some truth bombs as well, like some honesty bombs on Nintendo as well. Just like this, just do what you want. Just do what you've been saying. Because the thing is, like, they've identified issues. They've been identifying the issues for 2 years. Like, they've said, "Oh, we need to market it better." They've said, "Oh, we need to be better in Europe." They've said all these things. Fix them. You've told us the problems. You've identified the problems. You had them identified back in 2011. Sort it out. And fucking European PR, pull your finger out.
So basically, like, a bit of self-actualization for you, Nintendo. I think that's what we need to be seeing.
Yes.
That needs to be on New Year's resolution. Self-actualization. And yeah, everyone's New Year's resolution needs to be, whenever you make a major decision, any publisher especially, or console manufacturer, just think, what would CD Projekt do?
That's a very, yes.
Just think, well, I mean, if everyone thought like that, then every game released would be a kick-ass RPG. Yeah, actually, that'd be great. Do that as well. Every decision, think, what would CD Projekt do? That would be an awesome New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution will be to try and not waffle so much crap in podcasts. That might be a good idea. Hasn't been a great start, let's face it. And I think perhaps to try and make reviews a lot more concise. I think that's going to be my sort of, bring the size down, make things a lot more condensed, easier to read. No more massive walls of text for me, I think. Make some videos too, probably.
Well, yeah, I think a site-wide resolution of ours is that we are going to be hitting YouTube hard, or whatever comes in its place to support content creators. Hi, Twitch. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more video stuff, a lot more sort of opinionated stuff. We're going to be getting our opinions on. Oh yeah. If you hadn't realised over the last couple of months, that's going to be happening in a big way this year. But I think my personal New Year's resolution is I've got this awesome rig. It's just time for me to play so many PC games.
Yeah, get on it.
And just love it dearly. And maybe finally. Now I know that MMOs don't have to necessarily steal my life. Now I know that I'm older now and wiser and can practice a little bit of restraint. Maybe I'll go back and give SWTOR a look.
Very cool. Carl, what about you?
SWTOR.
It'd be a crushing disappointment now I've played Wildstar, probably.
It almost you're going to start playing 5 minutes, no, and turn it off and uninstall. I guarantee that is my prediction of 2014. Or the shortest games time span in SWTOR ever recorded by Matt. That's my prediction. Adding that into what we were doing earlier. My resolution, I think, is complete my backlog that I've had since I've still got bloody Arkham City to play through. I've I did my 3 hours on Ni no Kuni. So, there's still about 5 billion to go. Still got Far Cry 3. Still got, hold on, what have I got down here? Saints Row, Dead Space 3, and
Saints Row 4 is so good.
no, Saints Row. Oh no, Saints Row 3. Yeah, it's not even Saints Row 4. This is how many games I've still got to play through.
Did you say Dead Space 3? I wouldn't worry too much about that.
I still want to give it a go. I played the first two, and it's like I kind of want to see where it goes. I want to know why it was such a awful appointment with its microtransactions. So yeah, I mean the problem is there's going to be so many games coming out. I mean, I did admittingly over New Year find time to play through The Walking Dead, as in the first episode of season 2, because Clementine. And this is the problem. We're going to have games that are just going to come out and just be like, yeah, play me, like WildStar and Titanfall and everything else. And the backlog just keeps going. So I'm going to try and find time to finish it all off and clear the backlog once and for all.
And that is, I think, a good New Year's resolution for all of you, dear listeners, because we've got a few for you too. First of all, just finish more games, guys. Look at your backlogs, look at them and finish some of them. You'll have a much better time of it. You won't have to spend any more money. You'll actually get to the end of some of those storylines. And because developers have access to all the achievement metrics, they will see that more people are completing games and will actually concentrate more on the single-player campaigns. Because right now, most people buy a game and don't actually complete the single-player element of it. So it's no wonder that there's this idea that actually focus a bit more on the multiplayer and just make sure that the single-player campaign's kind of playable. So finish more games, work on that backlog. You'll have more money in your pocket and you'll have more fun as well. And another New Year's resolution for you as well: don't buy any more pre-order season passes, please. Don't buy any more of those, because they're a mug's game, guys, and we've all been burned by them. We've all been burned because there's no guarantee at all that A, the content will be any good, and B, that it'll be content you'll actually use. For example, in many season passes, you think, oh, this is going to be great single-player content, and then they bring out a multiplayer pack included in it that you'll never use because you don't play the multiplayer. Or it might be that a particular content pack comes out, say, for Borderlands 2, like one of those DLC packs is very much for late-game cooperative characters who want to basically just raid. And actually, if you don't want to do that, if you want to explore a more interesting storyline, you're just not going to touch that very much at all. So even if the content's good, you don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea, and it might not be good. So don't buy them. Just don't buy them, guys. Seriously. I
totally agree with that.
Advice. Yeah. And also as well, just the online etiquette as well. As a New Year's resolution, just try and be just a little more polite online. I'm sure all of you listening are paragons of virtue online, but even if you are, remember the one simple rule of if you don't need your microphone on, make sure it's turned off. And this goes for everyone. You little squeakers, we don't need to hear it. Unless you're talking team tactics, unless you're coordinating strategies with us, don't broadcast, please. If you're having a party and you've put on, say, GTA Online, we really don't need to hear everything that's happening. Like if you're actually in like a physical actual party that you're holding, and then you order a pizza and then you tell everyone in the entire session your address. That's happened to me like twice now playing GTA Online. Don't do that. And dads as well. Dads, we love you, gaming dads. You're awesome, finding time to work and look after your kids and enjoy a decent bit of gaming as well. You're amazing, but when you got the kid in your lap, please turn the mic off. So, Happy New Year. That would be my suggestion to you.
Shut the hell up.
Dads and kids. Not safe.
Just if you're online, just think, do I actually need to have the microphone on? And if it's, and if you do, I mean, the fact is, speaking, the team that communicates best will usually win. Like keep it to like team talk and call out any cyberbullying and like actually call out idiots when you see them as well. Try that. See what happens. People are calling me out right now.
you.
So those are our most anticipated games, our predictions, our resolutions.
I've already broken my no rambling resolution.
You have. It's okay.
So starting.
It's okay. It was wonderfully endearing.
Starting
now.
Thank you so much for listening. And one more quick news resolution: hit subscribe. Yeah.
Yay.
It's a totally easy one. All you need to do is click. It'd be so easy and great. Thank you so much. We will catch you tomorrow for our first proper Game Buzz of the year. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.